Send money internationally to your loved ones in the Gambia with FRS Money. Lowest fees guaranteed. We promise a fast, reliable and secure services for you. At FRS Money, we are bringing you closer to home. FRS Money, your number one choice for money transfer services to the Gambia. Visit us now at www.frsmoney.com. Send now. Yaiborom.
Welcome back here on Voice Out Digital on a special program regarding the President's address at the Parliament, which is State of Nation Address, alias SONA. Well, we are back once again to give you in-depth analysis on his address together with me, Yankuba Jallow, President of Young Journalists Association Gambia, YJAC, but also a vocalist with regards to national discourse on matters surrounding our country, the Gambia. Well, Yankuba, overall, we've heard what the President said. This year's address once more. First of all, tell me your impression about his address before we get into specifics regarding today's SONA.
Yeah, thank you very much. Greetings to the viewers, those watching VOD at this moment, Gambians home and abroad. I'm glad to join you in this platform, and the address was actually significant in the sense that it touches on the sectors, all the sectors, and the subsectors within, and it also highlights the challenges, and then the progress or the acclaimed progress, and then how we intend to solve it. So, I think the address was good.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, now let's start with the specific. First of all, we understand that he is the chairman of the OIC. And also, President Barrow is seen as a champion of peace. He's a peace advocate. First of all, we could see that he extends his solidarity to Iran and calls for peace between Israel and Iran. How do you see that? How do you react to that, basically, with regards to his call for or advocacy for peace between Israel and Iran?
Yeah, since he came in 2017, January, I've been following his addresses, and for the first time I saw him start with international matters. So I'm seeing a shift. Maybe it's showing how important it is to him. Yeah. And yeah, the crisis in the Middle East is something that is of concern to the Gambia, and it should be a concern to the organization that he heads, that is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, and it also should be a concern to every ordinary person, because we are in a world that we have a body called UN, so we are all we are a global community. So what happens in one area should interest the other area, because every day we are seeing death. That it was started by Israel, and Iran retaliated, and you can see now. For me, what I've seen now is things are changing in favor of Iran, and it's well, even though we don't want war, no one wants war, because the home's straight there. Iran, if they close it, we are going to feel it there.
Yeah, I think that's where the fuel comes in.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So they said I think 30% of the global supply of fuel passed through that place. So if that place closes, we are going to...
The supply chain is going to be affected. Thank you very much. Since we say State of the Nation address, well, viewers, you might be reminded that this program is also sponsored by FRS. They are our main sponsors for this program. Moving on, since we said it's a State of the Nation address, we've seen that the President speak on areas regarding the basic commodities. Do you have any impression towards that end?
Yeah. It's like a politician talking.
Really?
Yeah. But his statement does not represent the realities on the ground.
Justify that, please.
Yeah, because you cannot tell us inflation is going down. Is it 17% from 2023 to I think 10 in 2024? That's so strange. You know, it's so strange to me, or something like that. I'm not sure of the figures, but I think this is what he said. People can only verify from his statement. But it's a very, very big or significant, as he used it, he used the word significant reduction in inflation.
That's a huge reduction.
Yes, but that's not correct. That's not correct. Because the reality is, things are going up. Inflation to a normal person, an ordinary person, is things are getting high. Inflation has to be, you're having a lot of cash in your hand, but you get little things. You need 2,000 plus to get a bag of rice. You need 2,000 plus to get like a 20-liter vegetable oil. That is how much? 4,000. You need 2,000 or 3,000 to pay a house, 6,000. So someone working salary, these are three things that already consume your
monthly salary.
I did not come, sugar did not come,
and daily expenses.
So for me, the reality is inflation, whether you accept it or not, Gambians are feeling it. And every Gambian who listens to it, who is fair to himself, I don't mean the politician, a Gambian who is fair to himself will agree and admit that things are getting tough on us. And if anyone is telling us that it's going down, that person is trying to fool us. Really.
So you mean the president's assertion on that part is kind of misleading?
Yeah. In fact, he used that to justify, he's claiming self-sufficiency, economic independence. These are terms that are very big. You have a budget that, you know, your GDP, 30+% is remittance. American government actually come up with a big, beautiful bill. They call it Trump's bill, the one, that is increasing 3.5% tax on remittance again. It's going to reduce your income, your annual remittance. So that's the reality. These are the things we should be talking about, really. Economic independence, you don't have anything in your hands. Everything that you have here, whatever you consume, whatever you, even
of 300 and
are coming in. You don't tell us how you want to empower the farmers. You don't tell us how you empower the horticulture gardens. You know. So for me, I'm seeing it like you don't even tell us how you want to end poverty before even you talk about economic independence, self-sufficient, and these are terms that you should have avoided. We are a struggling nation. Yeah, we are a struggling nation, and everything he's talking about is World Bank aid, this and
IMF.
Yeah. So for me, I'm definitely shocked when I hear him talk about economic independence and self-sufficient. I was saying, wow, I hope you understood what he's talking about. But sometimes.
So for this assassin, you see it more of a politician talking than a president addressing the nation.
Yeah, this aspect.
Yeah,
limited to this aspect. Yes, because. You know, at that point even I was like 100% focused on his speech, and I was shocked. Like, why would he say this? You know, he's what I've been talking about. Yeah, the reality is we're having a challenge in security. We are going to recruit more personnel. We are going to make investment. I heard him talk about investment in the army. Very important. He said the army is going to be equipped. The equipment is even helping the Gambia to gain international peacekeeping opportunities and other things. These are very important things. These are things we expect. But don't tell us we are going to economic independence, self-sufficiency.
At one point in time, the president said he's the most informed person in this country. So why do you think he will have a reason to mislead the public after affirming to us that he's the most informed person in the country? So meaning he knows the things going on.
He made that claim that he's most informed. But the same president, if he said that, the same president during his address about this exposure about the Jammeh assets, he told Gambians he was not aware.
So that's contradictory.
Okay, so that's it. He told us, and I don't believe he's the most informed person. I don't believe that. I don't. In fact,
why?
He may be informed about government activities, but what happened within the socials? What happened even within the government, the outside, the subsectors? Agencies, departments. Yes. Things are happening there. He does not know. What is the reporting mechanism of the government? Do they have a centralized reporting mechanism that he has to receive? You know, how many times do we have economic crimes here? And these are things that will happen until you die at the end. Later, when the project is about to report, then they come and arrest them. It happened. So I'm not even sure.
So meaning if he's informed prior, those things could have been averted.
I'm not sure he's informed. I'm not sure. I doubt that.
Or he's misinformed.
I'm not going to claim that. But I believe he's not that informed about issues. Really about the country.
Not at the scale of which he puts himself to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like for example, this gallery thing, Jami asset issues. He established a commission.
Sure.
He personally established a commission based on powers he has under Section 200 of the Constitution. So he established that commission. The commission did its work and gave him a report. So they sold those assets under his watch then. Because a commission is down, they gave the things to the government. Yeah. So who is the head of the government?
The president.
So they sold these things, he is not aware. And he said the government will look into it and other things. Wow, then you are not informed. This is something under you. You established that commission. So if you cannot know about Jammeh's asset, then other things you will not be able to know. Not possible.
Okay, that's very... that's an insightful analysis. But moving on, Yankuba, since time is against us, he also talked about civil service. For example, the investment they have done in human capital, that's the salary alleviation rather for low-income earners. Do you think that also has been impactful, looking at the outside, because you are not in the government, so you will be in the outside. So looking at the narrative of civil service servants, do you think really it has been impactful considering their earnings?
Okay, the reality has not changed.
Till now?
Yeah. You increase salary, things are going up. Salaries here, these basic things are here. You took salary up, things are going up. They're here at the same level.
So expenditure and...
Exactly. Rent is going high. You don't control rent. Civil servants are renting. They pay rent $5,000. From the money you claim you pay them. They said no one is paid below $6,000. That's their claim. But $5,000 is going for rent. If you want to live a good house, at least you pay $5,000. So how much are you left with? From $6,000, how much?
$1,000.
What's the impact? You know, the most important thing in number is what value they get from that. What is the value? What is the impact? You know, you look at many civil servants. They work from one place, and in the evening you see them working for other places.
Double shift.
Yes, double shifts. It's happening because they want to survive. If not, they will not survive. To be candid, you cannot survive by 5,000, 8,000 salary. It's not possible. Unless and until. This is why sometimes you see them, they are inefficient. Yeah. Because if someone is well paid, or at least you get moderate pay, you actually will be motivated. Exactly. So this is the problem. So salary increment is good, but let them control the price. They should control the price.
So that's why you think the impact will be felt.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. But
I took some good things from his statement. That is the CCTV cameras on the streets to reduce accident,
especially this OIC road.
OIC road, exactly.
Okay, you can
and the coming of the reparations commission, which actually is working now, and the corruption commission, he said, is going to work in 2025. You know, the ministry has already announced that they have appointed people, but they don't mention their names.
Okay.
You know, Gambians will be interested in knowing their names, definitely. And then also the review of some of the laws. But what he's saying about those things also is not new. The Immigration Act. He has been talking about it.
Still, it has not been brought to the
No, he said now it's in the cabinet. He said it has been brought to his cabinet. The Traffic and Motor Act, which is very old, before Gambia became independent, that law is the law that is governing our traffic. We need to change that. He said they have reviewed it and other things. That's very important. Definitely, that is very, very important. But I took a shift. That is in the foreign service, international.
Yeah. The foreign service. Okay.
He said, Gambia is increasing its presence. Previously,
meaning we are gaining recognition.
That's what he said. Okay. And in fact, also developing ties, sending people, diplomats, sending their, how do you call it, the credentials and other things. But the idea was, the government was saying, they will minimize them. That was the policy. That was the policy. So why increasing it? Gambians will be interested in knowing. Why? Image building outside. How much is being invested in the foreign service? You go to the budget, how many percent is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs taking? He also talked about the URUA, National Development Plan. You know that the URUA is called the Recovery Focused National Development Plan, RFNDP. It replaced the NDP of 2018-2021. That NDP failed. It failed because it was so ambitious. But you have your budget. You have a national blueprint. You call it a blueprint, which is entirely, reliant on foreign aid.
It's a dependent
NDP. That's why he could not deliver. They could not deliver. They came up with this recovery-focused NDP, which is also about to expire very soon.
But do you think Barrow's government doesn't spend much on the productive base?
Now I see they do local sourcing, taking domestic loans and other things to do roads and other things. It's happening.
Okay.
No, but
at a smaller scale, or
it's growing. It's growing because the number is becoming significant. But how much are they taking also from outside? Just today, 65 million by IMF. So for me, the development plan they're talking about, it should be reviewed very well. Yeah, it should be reviewed very, very well. And now we are heading to elections. The constitution issue.
A draft constitution.
They said July, next month, July. It will be read for the second time. What is it? He said his government is political will. He was talking about political will and other things. Well, how interactive are they having with National Assembly? Because if they kill it there, it will not get to the people.
No.
It is his making. This is his. The other one was the people's.
Yeah.
This one is his. How do you succeed? I was listening to him, but I don't hear that.
Okay, but based on your analysis, do you think the 2020 draft and that of the 2024 draft, which one is more people-centered and which one is more like have the intentions of the people? Because looking at this draft, some of them are even saying that, well, whatever favors the executive is what is embedded there. But for the 2020 draft, that one is people-focused, people-centered. At the end of the day, it includes everything that the people advocated for, because they went on a nationwide tour and even up to the diaspora to get people's opinion embedded in the 2020 draft. But the 2024, they are saying no. It favors only the executive.
I will disagree from the ending. That is saying the 2020 draft captured everything people were saying, no, people wanted. That's wrong. That's wrong. The CRC they have statisticians. They have stats. For example, on citizenship, the Gambians, overwhelming majority of Gambians said, when you are born here, you should be a Gambian. CRC did not put that. And many others. But the CRC constitution was progressive. Because it was based on consultation. The things they put there, they clearly explained. They came up with an explanatory memorandum. It failed. The government came up with days. And then the government actually removed certain provisions. For me, I took time to read it entirely. Not once, not twice.
This latest draft?
Both of them. I've been reading them. Because one thing is about, I'm a young learner, and I'm always interested in developing my intellect. That's why I'm always reading. I definitely noted a lot of changes. But the 2020 draft was very, very good.
So you think it's more progressive than that of 2024?
2024 is just a cool. It's like taken from this one. It's taken.
Yeah.
Some are dropped, some are adjusted.
So based on the adjustments and some of the omissions they made, do you think it's still progressive when adopted? Because there are some clauses that are adjusted in this 2024 draft. People are complaining about that. And the omissions of Chapter 5, especially Chapter 5.
On leadership.
Yeah, on leadership.
No,
and
but even the draft of 2020, leadership, how enforceable is that? You should be going for the other things. If that is alone, if that is the only reason, I would have say let's allow this to go.
2024?
Yes.
Okay.
That is not my problem.
What's your problem in the draft of 2024?
It's not consultative. That's my problem. You want to impose it or not?
It wasn't done transparently?
Yeah, you don't consult anyone. Even the political parties are telling you don't consult us. You only call us a meeting, you do not consult us. But that is an imposition. The government is saying we took them to Abuja and they discuss and other things. Anyway, I don't have a problem with it passing or not. Because, but the reality is, people should look at the 2020 draft, the statistics of the CRC, based on their focus group discussions, based on their individual submissions, based on their institutional submissions, based on the nationwide tour, diaspora engagement. There are statistics. People should go for them. There are things that CRC left out. Let's advocate for them to come out. These are the. If you want, if your claim is what Gambians say should be in the constitution, the 2020 draft also left a lot of things.
Okay, now.
Yeah. So for me,
yeah,
the constitutional building process. Barrow's government, when he goes, this is the first thing people will ask him. This is the first thing he promised Gambian. That Yajame's constitution is not good. They call the 1997 Yajame's constitution. It has been amended at least 50 times, other things. You do not deliver it. He has to deliver a constitution. He's talking about a third republic, he has to deliver a constitution. So without that, I don't see him.
Moving on, Yankuba, now let's talk about some of the achievements done by the president. The president usually he brags about his infrastructural development and also other areas like energy and all sort of, because he promised that by the end of 2025, 90% of nationwide electricity coverage will be attained. So far, how do you assess the development pace of the President Barrow's administration?
Yeah, certainly in terms of electricity and roads, it's doing well. Yeah, even the village my family is staying, they have electricity and road. Recently, not long ago. So for me, I'm seeing that as a plus. And every road is coming. In fact, it's almost done.
But we have seen people or critics who downplay or downgrade the level of infrastructural development. Do you think that one is unnecessary, such kind of rhetorics?
You know, when you want to criticize, you must be objective. You must not be wearing the political hat. Some people are wearing political hats of this. When they are criticizing, they will criticize, they will never see any progress. But anyone with eyes, you can't claim you don't see any development in this country. If you have eyes, you see development. No doubt. But what type of development are you looking at? That's the problem. So I would have expected the critics will look at how many jobs he's creating now. Does he intend to end poverty or reduce it? How he intends to make a lot of young Gambians millionaires? Because it should be a government policy to make people millionaires and billionaires, empower citizens to become, financially stable.
Economic empowered.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have NEDI, you have President Scheme. These are places where youth are learning. But we have they are weak institutions. They are very weak institutions.
So those are the institutions that should be empowered.
Yeah. That
will in turn transmit the empowerment to the youth so that the impact and the benefit can be felt.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because they should be training people on tailoring, on other skills. But it's not happening.
But now they have debate.
No, what I mean by it's not happening is like the number of people who will want those services, the number of registration applications they receive, and number of people they enroll, if you compare it, it's not at the same level. So they didn't extend that, and yeah, the Ministry of Higher Education is doing very well. TVET is coming up. I'm seeing a lot of transformation under this regime and the leadership of the Minister, Professor Gomez. Yeah, they are doing very well. Certainly, I see a lot of development. TVET is one way, and now is in fact trying to bring madrasas. To align that's so important. Yeah, that's so important. But the NEDI business scheme should be expanded, taken to the regions. They should expand this and make many people have skills.
Thank you very much, Yankuba. Moving on, also about trade. We've seen that the president addressed issues regarding cross-border trade, but of late also we've seen most citizens complain, especially those who play around the border. They will complain that they have not been treated fairly. Most Gambians, they will say that this cross-border trade is not like, how do I even put, the way things are done there is not going as planned, because normally it has to, like Ekwa said, free cross-border trade, but I think it has not been manifested so far. So many Gambians claim of abuse or partiality there. So how do you assess those things? What's your reaction towards that?
Yeah, that area should be looked at very critically, because the two countries, Gambia, Senegal, and other countries, in fact, I will extend it to Mali and other places. We are all interdependent. Sometimes Mali, they have their stuff through our seaport here. Gambia and Senegal also, if they want to access the other part, whichever part, most of the times Gambia is the most convenient route to use. Okay. And Gambia, we don't have those hurdles here. That so much hurdle. We don't treat you like a foreigner or something like that, because the constitution of the Gambia is very clear. That you should not be discriminated based on gender, race, and other things, nationality, and there are a lot of things we look at. And then at least, or let's say, fortunately for us, Gambia is observing that. So it's not fair for any Gambian to want to travel to any other country and suffer in their hands. You pay endless from one checkpoint to the other, paying. It does not make sense, you know. Gambia here, if you are a foreigner, if you come to the border, you pay your laissez-passer, you enter. You are allowed to stay 30 days. If you want to work or stay here, you go and pay your alliance. You're safe. That is the permit. No one disturbs you anymore. You don't pay any other extra cost. In fact, I believe Gambians pay more than the foreigners here in our own country, because you pay income tax and other taxes. And I
think for Gambians, it is easy to coexist with foreigners.
100%. Yeah. And we don't have Gambians. Yeah, they have houses. They stay with us. You know, they mingle with us. You know, we do our things together. So when I listened to the president of the transport union, his complaint, I was like, yeah, the government should listen to him, because it's something that is very important. The Senegal, the transport sector is very powerful. The government should also empower transport sector, the transport union, give them powers that they can also. The Senegal transport union can call on a strike. They can close the transportation system in the country.
So you mean trade unions need to be empowered in the country, because they are trade unions.
Yeah. So we need that, and definitely the ministries who work with the Senegalese, you know. The Senegal or Gambia Secretariat also should look at this. We coexist. We need each other. Yeah, no one should call for
tension between the two.
So there should be a solution, diplomatic solution.
Okay, well, finally, we've seen that a lot of the time the president will come and address the parliament or address the country, then leave. The following week, vice president and the ministers will in turn appear to answer questions based on their respective ministries. But we've seen National Assembly members and opposition's critics also blaming the president for not appearing himself as an individual to answer those questions, since he was the one who delivered those speeches. Do you think it will be necessary for the president, for himself, to reappear before the parliament to start answering questions from National Assembly members? Or do you think, as it is legal for the vice president and the ministers to answer questions on behalf of the president?
You know, when you criticize someone, you criticize the person for not doing something, an obligation on him. The law tells him, do this. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. Or you fail to do it.
That you need question.
Exactly. So when you look at the Constitution, the president is under obligation to deliver a state of address. He has done it. The state constitution, which is our governing instrument, provides that the vice president or his ministers can represent the president in the affairs of the National Assembly. So if they come, why will you need the president? So for me, I'm looking at it as a target. Target.
Because the opposition doesn't have the majority in the parliament.
Then let them pass constitutional amendment. Let them make amendment to the constitution so that the president, the law will tell the president, you have to be here. You'll be there. But without a law, the law says the vice president and the others can replace him. Then I don't see any problem in that. So criticism, we are criticizing someone what the law is telling. We are telling him now, don't respect the law. If he chooses to come, the law did not tell you you cannot come. But law is clear. It's the vice president and the ministers who represent the president in the National Assembly matters. But the state of the nation address is by force. He has to be there. The vice president cannot do that for him. So we have to be very clear on the law. Once we law, then we push for amendment. Let's say the president, they have the powers. Let them come up with it and stop making noise. For me, I see it as a distraction. Right now, they should be busy reading what the president has. And they should be also busy doing their investigation and research. They should be busy trying to come up with objective, deliberations during this State of the Nation address debate. Interesting ones, not the usual ones, where you will tell them, yes, we have seen this, but you promised us this, but you don't do that. You are not beggars. National Assembly members are not beggars. They should analyze and critically look at the statement because it's talking about the state of the nation. So National Assembly members should be very informed about the state of the nation. That's why they give them even all this time to review it until Monday. So it's a long time to review this document and also do their findings, come with their own deliberations.
Yeah, come with their own deliberations. Well, viewers, we now come to the, we drop the curtains for today's special edition on the President's State of the Nation address. With me here in the studio was Yankuba Jallow, President of Young Journalists Association, and I was your host, Abdoulie Darboe. Till we come here once again, do enjoy the rest of our interesting programs. We'll be reminded that the National Assembly members will conduct sittings on Monday, 10 June at 10 a.m. to debate on issues surrounding the President's address. Sorry, 23rd, on Monday, 10 a.m. Well, viewers, that will be for all on our end, and thank you very much.
I'm expecting the President to speak to the very purpose of the State of the Nation, all right, as provided in the Constitution. So that on a day like, that day, the president should speak about not only about the policies in place, but how he has been governing this country, managing the affairs of this country and the resources of this country, and what has been the outcome. So that it is not just about highlighting what successes have been registered, but also what have been the challenges. And to be very honest and direct in that manner, so that he can lay out the challenges in detail. So we understand the nature of these challenges and therefore what solutions he is thinking in terms of, addressing those challenges and, going forward to next year. The fact remains, the past year has been a difficult year for Gambians. Cost of living has been high. Issues of security, service delivery, whether it's healthcare, education, electricity, but also there has been serious issues of corruption, government inefficiency, abuse of office. These are all issues under his, under his watch, and these are all issues he should address and tell us as Gambians what he understands the nature of these issues and therefore how he intends to address them. Because part of these problems is a lack of law enforcement or limited law enforcement. That is why corruption or inefficiency or abuse, disregard of the law takes place. So the issue of accountability is important. So, this is what I expect him to speak to Gambians, not just to give us technical, narratives, to give us official narratives, as what is indicated in project documents.
Well, actually, it's two things. One is what I expect, what I would wish. I mean, the president to at least, or things that I would want the president to mention. During his when he's addressing the nation, that would be my wish. And the other thing is, what do I expect? From the president when he's addressing the nation. Well, I will start with the expectation, and then I will finish with my at least wishes or areas that I think are important for the president to address. Based on experience, what has prevailed in the past, or what we've had the president mentioned in the past 8 years since he became the president in 2017. I really cannot even remember the things that he's mentioned or highlighted during those previous years. It's very generic. When he's addressing the country's problems, sometimes you can feel a bit of, politicization in some of his comments. But by and large, it's not. He's never mentioned things that will definitely, wow an average person. Things that he would say, and you would be like, wow, this guy really understood what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. He's on the right track. He's leading us, and we believe that we're heading to the promised land. We're heading to success. So every time he will talk about the infrastructure that he's done and the developments that he has achieved more than the former presidents. So nothing that has ever convinced me.
State of Nation Address is a very important activity as per the constitution of this country. This president should appear before the country and address some of the burning issues, some of the issues that are confronting the citizens of this country. But speaking from the National Parliament, Home for Young People, we're representative of young people. Of course, indeed, non-partisan organization will work around making sure that young people are given the chance to participate in decision-making process. Young people are also advocating for policies that affect their lives, that also can also address and, of course, bring meaningful change to the nation. One of the issues that we want the president to address are issues that confront young people. First, we're looking at the burning issues, that is illegal migration. These are issues that are definitely confronting young people of this country, and we also expect the president to address this, to, of course, find ways. How do they remedy the situation? And of course, looking at the challenges that young people of this country are facing. And the reason why they are also venturing into this illegal migration are also of concern and should be also be addressed by the head of state tomorrow, to ensure that young people of this country are not only staying in this country, but of course they are also involved in some of the meaningful development of activities that they can also. When we look at the population of this country, we say 70% of this population are young people from the age of 15 or to 35, or might be even less than that, to 35 years. So looking at the population, we realize that the highest number of this population are comprised of young people. So addressing issues that affect young people and that will also bring meaningful development to the young people will also boost the economic development of this country. Because any state that neglects its young people, of course, are not definitely ready to strive.
Wapasi agriculture Mohamed na konkomi rewi aglumuni don agriculture Mohamed konkomi rewi parce without agriculture fogma konkomi rewi da fay dem through informu dem down parce sun mamati yep ci agriculture len don dundale ci farms ci pharmacie dolel pharmacie ba pare doole noo xam ne ni loo xam ne ni si koom-koom boo xam ne ni foofu la nu doole de jublu comme ça si garden si orchard si ni something like that daf leen war a focus parce que loolu moo ne ici di naka développement si réew waaw doo dee maa développe si réew parce que loolu doo ko defee doo tax ñu demee noonu si biir parlement du fekkee xelam dafa dem that side fanaa loolu moo gën parce que fii mostly ñu ngi focus in this orchards garden si ni te loolu parce que du ñëwee da nga harvest da nga ko jaay employé ko export ko yes da nga export soo mu dem loo export xaalis bi dafa ñëwaat si biir